Hello, everyone. Harry here to talk about the talented Mr. George Santos, surely one of the most flagrant and comprehensive liars that have happened upon our political stage in some time. There are different stories you hear. One of President Biden himself back in the 80s when he first runs for president. Embellishes or maybe plagiarizes a detail from another person, and it basically tubed his first presidential run. George Santos, though, leaves everybody in the dust when it comes to lies. Kind of everything that he said turned out to be complete falsehood. Did he go to Baruch College where he was a certain member of it? Well, no. In fact, he went to no college at all, much less not Baruch. Did he work for Goldman Sachs? Well, no, not at all. Did he? Just every single detail seems completely manufactured. One wonders how he even had the kind of guts to do it, and why he didn't think he would be caught. As in fact, now he has been, but after the election. So we've got an interesting situation. He supports Kevin McCarthy, by the way, for Speaker, part of McCarthy's, really narrow ascent into the job. And so McCarthy and others are saying, oh no, let him stay around. But voters back home are holding their nose and saying this guy completely hoodwinked us, including members of the local Republican Party. And it seems to me he's in very precarious shape for going down one way or another and not seeing out his whole 2-year term, but not before he's lent important support to Kevin McCarthy. But what has he done, basically, that could land him in hot water? It's just this very interesting point to start with. All the lies? Probably nothing wrong or illegal. He hopefully had crossed fingers behind his back, and if there's an eventual final judgment day, he will be completely eviscerated. But, it turns out, and haven't we learned this ruefully with the previous president, no real law about candidates lying. Now, you could imagine, in general, the Supreme Court has said flat out lies really don't have much First Amendment value. And you could see the Congress trying to say if people totally lie about it, it's a problem. But they haven't, and they won't, because it's a First Amendment problem generally, trying to distinguish, say, puffery from lies, and even, partly innocent lies or falsehoods from lies. And there's a pretty strong American tradition where politicians say all kinds of crap, right? I mean, there are ways of looking at political speech as being 75% false. In any event, for whatever reason, don't look to the law to punish Santos for any of the flagrant lies he told the people. Now, look to the political process, perhaps, and very ominously for him, Republicans back home have been saying he's got to go. And it seems like, on many fronts, I think the Vegas odds of him serving out his whole term are, the odds are against it. Still, he's not going to go down on a legal basis for all the lies. What could he go down for? And we know, by the way, that the U.S. Attorney's Office and the District Attorney's Office are investigating him. Well, basically anything involving paper, and any time where he actually attested this was true by a signature. What does that mean? Financial disclosure forms, which, if they're rife with falsehoods, that's potentially against the law, a felony, equivalent to perjury or maybe flat out perjury. Campaign forms. It's very possible that he filed falsehoods and that the Federal Elections Commission is going to be able to find violations. Those, again, wouldn't necessarily disqualify you, but they sure add up to a bigger and bigger problem for the Republican Party. For now, the party, I think, is happy to keep him around. McCarthy's happy to keep him around. One more person for McCarthy. And yet it does seem as if things will, not go his way, especially because at every turn we find out about more falsehoods. One big point, however, the Office of Government Ethics, which is a congressional watchdog and a nonpartisan one, as part of these rule changes by the Republicans, has been basically eviscerated. They kicked out people, and so they're vacancies. They can't act until they're filled. Don't look for the Republicans to fill them anytime soon. So the important potential remedy here of an Office of Government Ethics investigation and determination probably is not in the cards. All of this in general factors in to the new Republicans in the House and their desire to, basically act with impunity and do screaming campaigns against the administration. And Santos has shown he'll play ball. He'll do it, as long as they let him stick around. Hey everyone, we're taking a quick break to ask you to take a second to like and subscribe. It's a quick thing that really helps the show. Thanks, and back to the video. So, he already did his, the damage of supporting McCarthy, and I think there'll be more to come. But on the other hand, between political forces, the Federal Election Commission, and potentially crimes that U.S. attorneys ferret out, I think he's hurting. Oh, and one more big thing. He has said, and in fact, his campaign forms say he lent his campaign $700,000. That was one thing when it looked as if he had this robust business and had the golden touch as a broker. That all looks like phony baloney stuff also. So a real question here, and one that could give rise to criminal liability. Where'd you get that $700,000? Where did it come from? Did you lie about it on your campaign disclosure form? So bottom line for the talented Mr. Santos, he's in trouble one way or another, and I think the political forces will probably, vomit him up in some way over the next couple years. But it's not exactly clear how, and certainly he's already done the deed of supporting McCarthy and lending his hand to the Republicans taking charge in the House, passing McCarthy's rule package and the like. So stay tuned to see what happens with George Santos and which of the many swords that are bared for him wind up plunging in. I think one or another will. I could be wrong because there's nothing specific in the offing, but still, I see him as, going down before the end of his term. We will see. All right, that's the story. We'll keep you posted on that. Hey, wanted to mention about the podcast itself. Go on over to Patreon and Talking Feds, see what we have. Pretty good stuff, but also it's a good way, if the spirit moves you, to support the podcast, which is independent, doesn't have a lot of cheesy commercials, really is different from most law and politics and in our sort of field. So it's a good way to support independent podcast broadcasting if the spirit moves you. Other than that, lots of things to happen with George Santos, to happen with the new special counsel, to happen with Trump himself. When it does, I'll be there to give you my reaction. And until then, talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.